up here. How dare you? How dare you?
On now to that military blimp that broke loose in Maryland, floated through the Northeast for several hours, captivating so much of the country, drawing an escort of fighter jets before it finally went down in Pennsylvania. ABC's Lindsay Davis is there with our story. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, George. Not since the balloon boy hoax a few years ago has this country been so fixated with a helium balloon floating away. But this was no hoax. The military is now guarding the road to where this blimp landed. This morning, authorities are investigating just how this happened.
Oh my God, it's going down.
A $175 million top-secret military surveillance blimp tearing away from its post, free-floating for hours, crossing state lines, and sending F-16 fighter jets scrambling after it.
Yeah, and it knocked down our power at school, and it knocked down all Columbia's power.
It all started around 12:20 Wednesday afternoon. The 240-foot unmanned balloon, nearly the length of a football field, drifting away from its military base in Aberdeen, Maryland, at about 50 miles per hour, reaching as high as 16,000 feet in the air, dragging a 6,600-foot metal cable behind it, triggering blackouts, knocking out power lines, leaving about 30,000 customers without power.
Lights out for us at Fowlersville and 47. They lost power out there also. Route 11 dead.
The blimp, which can't be steered remotely, making its way to Pennsylvania, crossing over neighborhoods, cornfields, and schools.
We were just like, holy cow, because that thing is enormous.
Part of a nearly $3 billion program, this blimp, equipped with high-tech radars and early warning systems, is part of a testing system to defend the nation's capital against airborne attacks, able to search an area the size of Texas, looking for incoming missiles and aircraft.
It's a very sophisticated military technology, very classified. It's the best capability in the world. It is so sensitive that we don't want anybody who shouldn't see it to see it.
Finally, nearly 4 hours later, the blimp came to rest here in Moreland Township, Pennsylvania, snagged in these trees, deflating on its own. After a roughly 160-mile journey, it had finally lost its steam.
You see a lot of old world photos. You see the sky is all whited out. The whiting out is to get rid of the blimps because they needed to tell a news story. Oh, we didn't have that technology. With the whole Hindenburg situation, you know, that was the only incident. This is where it gets wild. That was the only incident in which the blimp went pop like that. But all the other blimps prior to the Hindenburg flew around the Earth 1 million miles. This is why the Hindenburg incident occurred. It was competing up against the airline industry. You could go on a bar, you could go to the library, you could even like play tennis on a blimp. It was pretty crazy. But they competed against the airline industry, so they had to get rid of that. They had to get rid of all that technology, so they said they had the Hindenburg incident, and then they got rid of it. They say, I believe, it was 30 people who passed away from that incident, but more people get hit by cars, and we still have cars. So you sit there and go, okay. But blimps are wild. You go down that whole rabbit hole, Zeppelins, blimps, all the atmospheric balls and energy that used to be attached to these blimps. They understood. That's who was flying around. When you look at these old world maps from the 1600s, 1700s, and all the timelines before carbon dating and all of that, you see that they had blimps. That's how they saw everything. They were flying around. I have an old picture from like 1871. It's in Russia, and you see all the blimps flying out.
Here, where it's got the trajectory of the spacecraft for Space Force, and I zoom in on this little logo and the point where it actually crosses on the logo, and then I put the April 8th eclipse on the screen on this side over here. So this is where the actual eclipse crossing would happen for the 2017 and the 2024 coming up in a couple of days. The actual crossing spot of that, it nearly matches absolutely identically with the Space Command logo. So I've titled this video Eclipse, a Space Force Project, and I actually wanted to look at a few logos that have coincidental matchings with the 2024 eclipse and other oddities. To be fair, there are numerous Space Force and Space Command logos, but this indeed does appear to be one of them.
First, let me bring in John Coleman. He's in San Diego this morning. Thank you for being here.
It's nice to be on CNN. Hello to all your viewers. I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. I'm a skeptic about climate change, and I want to make it darn clear, Mr. Kenny's not a scientist. I am. He's the CEO of the Weather Channel now. I was the founder of the Weather Channel, not the co-founder.
And I'm glad you did, because I am addicted to the Weather Channel. I watch a lot of cable news.
Now, hold on just a minute. I'm not done. And CNN has taken a very strong position on global warming that it is a consensus. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science isn't a vote. Science is about facts. And if you get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it. Climate change is not happening. There is no significant man-made global warming now. There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney, and yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform, and I regret it's become political instead of scientific, but the science is on my side.
I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion about the topic right here. What I do wonder,
I know
though, is
we're
when
not,
you
because
see
you wouldn't allow it to happen on CNN. But I'm happy that I got on the
we've
air
been
and got a
talking here for
chance to
several
talk
minutes.
to your viewers. Hello, everybody. There is no global warming.
What I do wonder is when you see the government, when you see NASA, when you see other institutions say that 97% of climate scientists agree, do you think they're making it up? What I don't understand is how you square that.
Well, that's a manipulated figure, and let me explain it to you. The government puts out about $2.5 billion directly for climate research every year. It only gives that money to scientists who will produce scientific results that support the global warming hypothesis of the Democrat Party position. So they don't have any choice. If you're going to get the money, you got to support their position. Therefore, 97% of the scientific reports published support global warming. Why? Because those are the ones the government pays for, and that's where the money is. It's real simple, but that doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't make it true. That only makes it bought and paid for. The money goes in circles.
I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to try to refute you on
that's
the facts.
The truth.
I'll simply say that the vast majority...
Please stand back from this issue and let the two sides be on the air. There are 31,000 scientists who have signed a petition that says it is not valid, that my position is correct. And we'll keep battling, and we will prevail in time, but I don't know if we'll do it in my lifetime.
I do hope viewers are Googling the data you're sharing, because I do think it's skewed. I have to say that. I want to ask you about the weather.
No, it's not true, and I hope you will go to the websites that present the papers that show that none of this alarmism about ice and heat waves and drought, none of it is happening.